I've got a really interesting little case study for you. It's a 2004 Mazda Demio. So this is out of New Zealand. We would know it as a Mazda 2, and it's brought to us by Phil, who lives and works there as a automotive technician. It's a 1.5 liter engine, which was barely running when it got brought in the shop, and Phil was suspecting some engine mechanical problems, so he took an in-cylinder pressure waveform in cylinder number 4. He posted it on our H-Scope Telegram group and invited comments. The waveform was captured using H-Scope and an HS402 that Phil built himself. So it goes to show that even for professional use, people who make their living at it, that these low-cost solutions can actually do the job. And Phil was using a PS16 pressure transducer. Rocky sent me one of these, which I featured in Gadgets number 122. And at the time I dealt with Eugene. This is a small company, Rocky. They make good quality, very reasonably priced products. They're just trying to make a living. And now they got caught up in that turmoil out there in Ukraine. Our heart goes out to them. And guys are telling me that their orders are still getting filled. Just incredible. Okay, back to the waveform. Let's expand this window a little bit, and we're going to put a 720 degree overlay. I'm going to anchor it. To 2 towers, right? Right? So what do you see? Or also, what is it that you don't see? So feel free to pause the video. I've had time to study it, so give yourself some time and tell us what you don't see. So one thing that I don't see is the exhaust plateau. It's missing. And one thing that I do see is that the overlay is showing an engine running at 1700 RPM. Now, you remember this was a sick engine. I doubt that it would be idling at 1700 RPM. And I confirmed with Phil whether this waveform was taken at idle, and he said yeah. So let's move the anchor of the overlay to an adjacent tower. And now all of a sudden, our overlay is telling us 850 RPM, which is a lot more credible of an idle speed, right? And also at 360 degrees, we see another tower. We're getting compression towers every 360 degrees. That's telling me that the exhaust valve does not open at all. And the waveform is giving enough guidance for a partial teardown. So have a look at this.
Yeah, and again. Yeah.
So in case you missed it, look at how this bearing over here is seized. It got really hot. And that the camshaft broke in half. The front was turning and the back was not. Take another look.
Yeah, and again. Yeah.
Now that's really unfortunate, because if you look at all the sludge in there, some regular maintenance, regular oil changes would have gone a long way to prevent that. So as is, the customer had to scrap that car. The key to be able to analyze that waveform, it was tricky, was that reality check on the engine RPM as shown by the overlay, that it had to jive with what the engine RPM was at the time of capture. Otherwise, we would have just anchored on the first 2 towers and we would just spun our wheels. We would have never made sense of it. So I want to thank Phil for bringing this up with our H-Scope Telegram group and for allowing me to share it with you. Take care, guys.